A long time ago, I lived in an aged apartment complex that's traumatized me for years. The apartments were all in a long row, with another side of units attached to the back. The only way into each side of the complex is from the front. The parking area resembled a Y shape around the building. The structure is locally known as the Old Boys Home. It was used to house boys with behavioral issues, but was closed due to abuse allegations. They restored the property and made it into some low-income housing, and despite the old style of architecture, it wasn't a terrible place to live. I was living with my boyfriend and my 3-year-old daughter at the time. Our bedroom had a large fireplace that had been boarded up and painted over. I decided to push my bed up against it one day while I was rearranging the room. It was like a headboard, and I put some pictures on top of it as well. That night, around 1 a.m., I heard small voices saying, "Mom?" I'd sat up in bed, but didn't see anything. I reached over my boyfriend, trying to get what I thought was my daughter, and put her in our bed. I kept feeling around, and I was still hearing the voices, but I couldn't feel her. My boyfriend woke up and turned the bedside lamp on, asking me, "What are you doing?" I explained that Amelia was trying to get into our bed, and I was reaching for her. There was nobody there. My daughter was sound asleep in her room. Then the next night came. I was sleeping when I started to hear knocking from behind the boarded-up fireplace. It was loud, full-force knocks. They made my spine shiver. I turned to my boyfriend, who had already woken up and raised his head, annoyed by the knocks. He sat up and knocked back on the wall, yelling, "Hey!" The knocking suddenly stopped. After a short pause, it knocked in a deliberate tune. It was as if whoever was on the other side was mockingly beating a song into the wall. My boyfriend was mad. He began getting dressed in a hurry. I told him to calm down, that the beating on the wall had stopped, and that we should just go back to bed. But he insisted on confronting the neighbors in the unit behind, so I put on my house shoes and came with him as backup. We rounded the big Y-shaped stretch of pavement that divided our units, and when we came to the opposite apartment, my boyfriend knocked on the door. No one answered. My boyfriend is even more enraged at this point. He starts to yell when a neighbor comes outside to see what all the noise was about. She was a sweet older lady. The woman told us that no one had lived in the apartment for months. My boyfriend and I were shocked, and we never really settled on an explanation for what we'd experienced. Another night in the same week, my dog had started to whimper at our door, so my boyfriend got up to take him outside. You know that feeling in a bed when someone lies down next to you, where the bed pushes in and there's a warmth on your back? I felt that, so I assumed my boyfriend had came back to bed. I rolled over, and my boyfriend wasn't there. I felt the bed release pressure. Whatever was laying next to me had gotten up in that second. I moved my bed the next day to the other side of the room away from the fireplace, and I've never had another incident in the 2 months that I remained in the apartment. I truly believe that the apartment complex was haunted. The feeling of someone's presence is never really something you expect to be traumatizing. I've had counseling about all of this for a while now, but something about the warmth in the bed that day, I still get shivers from it.